This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today is Tuesday, so we're doing a top 5 list, and following on from last week when I was talking about my 5 tips for selling a guitar on eBay or whatever platform you may happen to buy and sell guitars on, but I use mainly eBay. I thought it would be natural this week and logical to talk about the things I always tend to implement, my little kind of bits of advice, if you like, for when you're buying a guitar on said platform. So that's what we're talking about today, my 5 top tips when you're buying a guitar on eBay, starting with...
Confirm the truss rod is working.
Yes, the truss rod. Photographs can only reveal so much. You can have all of the fantastic photos of the guitar that looks absolutely mint and, you know, really gorgeous, and you just can't wait to get your hands on it, and you pay your money and it turns up and the action seems a bit high, especially in the kind of middle regions of the neck. And you do the little check that we all know about. Did a video on this ages ago where you fret at the first fret and the last fret, and you reach over to the 12th fret and you tap, and you should just have about the thickness of a business card clearance there when you do that. If you've got that, your truss rod is dialed in pretty much ideally. But maybe it's, you know, a whole stack of business cards will fit under. There's too much of a gap, basically. So under those circumstances, you need to tighten the truss rod. And then you go to tighten the truss rod and it's absolutely wedged solid, tightened as far as it'll go, or even worse, it's just spinning loose. There's no kind of action going on there at all. It's just completely goosed. This happened to me one time many years ago. Well, how long was it ago? Probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I did a review of a vintage, you know, the vintage brand of guitars, and I can't remember the model number, but it was essentially like a semi-hollow Telecaster with a little mini humbucker in the neck position. Absolutely gorgeous guitar, but it wasn't mine to keep. It was part of the Guitars for Good Causes thing I was doing at the time, and so it went to the charity, or it was sold and the money went to the charity. But that guitar left a big impression on me, so I saw one crop up not long afterwards for a good price on eBay, used guitar, and I jumped on it, and it turned up, and it was exactly that problem. The truss rod was completely kind of goosed. It just, you know, it was as tight as it would go, and there was still too much relief in the neck. Nothing that could be done, and it's not the kind of thing that a photograph can easily reveal. I ended up, after a bit of a fight, getting my money back and returning the guitar, but the seller was, you know, adamant that the guitar was as sold as seen, and I pointed out that it wasn't fit for purpose, and he didn't reveal the fact that it was damaged in the listing. His response was that he didn't know. Anyway, it was a bit of back and forth, and eventually, you know, the threat of negative feedback meant I got my money back. But it's not pleasant having to resort to those kind of things. So if there's a guitar you're interested in and it's a used guitar, message the vendor and say, you know, is the truss rod working? Can you confirm that the truss rod is working? And then if they come back and say yes, and it isn't working, then you have more of a solid footing to, you know, request that the guitar is returned and your money is given back to you. So that's the first thing I would say. Always confirm that the truss rod is in working order. Next.
Is it too cheap?
Yeah, is the guitar too cheap? You know, if it is, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something fishy about it, but it can mean there's something fishy about it. You know, it's a student of mine years ago, not on eBay, it has to be said, but, you know, through a private sale, bought a guitar which he thought was a bargain, and it turned out that he was, you know, in receipt of stolen goods. And he ended up, you know, kind of being seriously out of pocket over that. So that I'm not saying that a cheap guitar is likely to be, somebody fencing it from criminal activity, but it can happen, because it has happened, to my knowledge, to somebody that I knew. Also, going back to what I was saying about the that truss rod thing, there are other issues that photographs can't reveal, and sometimes don't reveal, especially if the photographs aren't maybe the best quality, and you're taking a bit of a chance because it looks kind of okay, but does it need a refret? Are the frets absolutely wiped out and with no meat on them left for kind of leveling and crowning and stuff like that? And a whole host of problems that may not reveal themselves. So when you see a guitar that looks too cheap, a deal that looks too good to be true, it might just be that somebody is, has got a bit of a hefty gas bill come in or something like that, and they need to liquidate some assets and, do it quickly, and so it's priced for a quick sale. But it's always worth investigating. Build a rapport with the vendor and, investigate. And if you're doing this on eBay, anything that they are saying that possibly turns out to be false, should the worst happen, gives you a stronger footing, a bit more of a leg to stand on when you want to, get a refund and, take some remedial action. So yeah, just always investigate if something is a little bit too cheap, seems too good to be true. It might be kosher, but it might not. Next.
Which courier will be delivering your guitar?
Yeah, an important one, this. Which courier is going to be delivering your guitar? There is a courier company in the UK who, I've named them before, so I'm going to name them again. Now, they used to be called Hermes. They're now called Every. They were one of those companies whose brand had become, their company name had become a watchword for poor service and, basically poor service. Years ago, I sold, again, as part of the Guitars for Good Causes program that I was doing, I sold a Harley Benton Flying V copy, and it turned up at the recipient, the guy who bought it. It turned up with a damaged headstock. It wasn't anything more than just paint damage, but there was a boot print on the box that he photographed and showed me, and the guitar was well packaged, the usual way that you package a guitar, the wedge-shaped box surrounded by bubble wrap inside a bigger box, and it had still managed to get chipped paint on the headstock. That it was I did a video with the guitar, and you could see in the video that there was nothing wrong with it, but by the time it arrived at its destination, there was. And this was courtesy of Hermes, as they were called then. They're now called Every. And I'd insured the guitar to the full value, and they refused to pay out, saying that the insurance was null and void because insurance didn't cover musical instruments. Well, you knew it was a musical instrument when I kind of told you what the contents were, and then you offered to sell me insurance. So that one was just chalked up to experience, and thankfully the guy who got the guitar had a good relationship with his local luthier, and the damage was repaired, and it was it all worked out in the end. But anytime anybody is selling something and there's even a whiff that particular courier company are going to be involved, walk away. That's just my advice. It speaks to a point that I'm going to make later in this video, but there are alternatives. If it's a guitar that you desperately want, then there are other things you can do to get it to you safe and sound. But whatever you do, just kind of that particular courier company, just avoid them, because they're useless. Next.
Make offers.
Yeah, let me show you this guitar. This is probably my number 2 instrument. You know what number 1 is. This guitar is and always will have the gold medal position. My Blondie, my signature guitar. But this one is pretty much the strong contender for the silver position here. And I got a really good deal on this guitar. because I made an offer. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it, but it was, as you can see, it's a PRS S2, one of the sort of entry-level USA-made PRSs, if you like. You've got the 3 tiers with PRS, haven't you? You've got kind of the SE ones, great guitars, and, fantastic, nothing wrong with them, in fact, professional quality instruments. But then if you want just that little bit more, just different features, really, I wanted dot inlays, not birds, and I just like the look of this because it's got a whiff of the SG about it. Anyway, so this is the entry-level USA model, and or one of them, and it was priced up for a certain figure, and I thought, well, I haven't got that much money to spend, so I'm going to make him an offer, and I lowballed an offer that was, it was borderline cheeky. It was, but I thought, well, I care about upsetting members of my family. I care about upsetting my friends. I don't really care if some guy on eBay gets a little bit irked at my cheeky offer for his guitar. But it was accepted, and I saved myself over £100 on buying this, to the point where this guitar here, which is in pretty much brand new condition, although it's a used guitar, cost me about the same as one of the where are they made now, Indonesian made SE guitars, and I think that is a real result. It shows that it's always worth haggling, basically. Learned that from me dad. He was a haggler extraordinaire, but anyway, I'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, so it's always worth making an offer, even if you think, well, it might be a bit cheeky. Do it anyway. You never know, you might end up with a real bargain. Next.
Offer to arrange a courier.
Yeah, how many times have you seen your ideal guitar on eBay priced just right in the happy zone for what you're prepared to spend? It looks in immaculate condition. It's fantastic. And yeah, then you look and it's local pickup only. And they are hundreds of miles away from you. Well, it doesn't really matter to the person who's selling the guitar who picks it up, does it? So contact them, and say, look, I'm unable to come and pick the guitar up myself, but I can arrange a courier to come and pick it up. Why would there be, what would they find disagreeable about that? I suppose a lot of the reason is a lot of people don't have a guitar box to ship the guitar in, which is why local pickup only is often stated, because I always make sure that when I buy a new guitar, the box goes in the shed, and so when I'm selling something, I've always got a guitar box there. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but that's what I always try and do. So if you have a guitar box, or you can get one from somewhere, you can get them on eBay. Funnily enough, you can get the packing materials, offer to courier those materials down to the person in question, and then they'll, flip you a text or whatever when it's all ready, and you organise a courier pickup. It sounds like a bit of a faff around, but we're talking here about a guitar that is, maybe it's the only one in that particular model, in that colour or whatever, or that price, that you can find on eBay. And if it's a choice between doing all of that and just not getting the guitar, then it's got to be worth a try. So there you go. Those are my 5 tips for what to do when buying a guitar. If there's any that you've missed, if there's any experiences and wisdom that you'd like to add to this list, then you know where to add it downstairs in the comments. I'm sure we would all be interested. But that is pretty much the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.